as
Yeah,
well?
so stable coins, for those of you that don't know the history, so I'll give you the history. So there was a concept called, so when Bitcoin came around, the technology had different use cases. And one of the really early things that we were exploring and got excited about is how it could be used to create different assets. And so people started looking at this concept called colored coins, where one of the early people that were looking at that was actually the founder of Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin. He was working as a journalist for a company called Bitcoin Magazine. And then he was trying to work on how we could use the Bitcoin protocol to actually build other assets. So you can digitize different assets, but on the Bitcoin blockchain. The technology was never really optimized for that use case. So someone launched a token on the Bitcoin blockchain, which is essentially another asset using the Bitcoin blockchain. And people started using it for fundraising. And this concept called building a token on another blockchain, like Bitcoin, and then selling it to people, created the birth of something called an initial coin offering, an ICO. And that was what went through a complete bubble in 2017, where there was a speculative frenzy of people investing in all these different things. And we ended up with thousands of different tokens and cryptocurrencies. But one of the very early one was something called the Omni protocol. And the Omni protocol is something that was it was originally launched as Mastercoin at the time. And this was used to create a concept by some of the early Bitcoin people, a gentleman called Brock Pierce. He funded an idea to actually take, whereby you could use the Bitcoin blockchain and back it by dollars and have a stable value, whereby you could send an asset just like Bitcoin, which is as easy as sending an email. But the value isn't necessarily going up and down like Bitcoin. It's actually backed by the dollar. And this was the invention of the stable coin. That was later sold to a company that I invested in called Bitfinex. And Bitfinex created something through a separate company called Tether. And Tether was the first one that really came along and got some kind of adoption. The idea was that you can have a token that can be sent just like Bitcoin, but for every one of the tokens, there was a dollar in a bank. And this went on for really didn't get any attention for years. The guy that actually really tried to popularize it was a guy called Phil Potter that was on the board of Bitfinex. And then at some stage, this whole concept of exchanges started to use these stable coins because many exchanges couldn't actually get bank accounts. So I started investing in lots of different exchanges that didn't actually have bank accounts, and they used these stable coins as alternative to bank accounts. And suddenly Bitfinex started having billions and billions and billions through, this stable coin Tether at a bank. And therefore it became like the bank to all of these crypto to crypto exchanges. And then eventually, as this concept was more popularized and Bitcoin had more volatility, people from different countries started to actually use this to get exposure to dollars in countries where their currencies were being devalued. So rather than so let's say you're in a country, you might not like the policy of what your government might be doing with something like the Indian rupee or the Vietnamese dong or something like that. And maybe there's some tight capital controls. So countries like India have always used gold as a hedge for that. But then people started to actually use stable coins in order to get dollar exposure. So they could convert some of their Bitcoin into stable coin and have dollar exposure and then use that as a medium of exchange. It became, when Bitcoin, which has traditionally went through, lots of different, in short term is highly manipulated. There's lots of pumps and lots of dumps. And therefore people started to use this stable coin to hedge their Bitcoin exposure, and particularly speculators in times when they wanted to not have exposure to Bitcoin price. And so this stable coin has now become a really interesting product because now financial institutions can use it because it can be lent and it can be used in order to receive yield. And so part of what I do and what we'll be going through is how you can actually supplement and get Bitcoins by using stable coins and utilizing some of this financial innovation in order to supplement income, in order to get some more compounding, to generate more Bitcoin, and actually use that in a really easy fashion and more automated way. That's one of the things I've been doing for years. So I was always lending through Bitfinex in order to supplement my Bitcoin position. But again, I want to, as caution, that doesn't mean you should be taking all of your money and doing that, because it's all about risk management and understanding, different buckets for different approaches and understanding the risks around that. So anyway, stable coins are essentially a really useful thing now. So they're approximately, it's a smaller market than Bitcoin. There's about $7 billion of stable coins in existence, which is a digital token, can be sent just as easy as sending an email. So you don't have to send these international bank transfers that take 3 days. Some of them can actually be cleared in 15 seconds. But they're backed by dollars at a bank, or a new innovation is they were used with algorithms that essentially determined their stability. This is a bit more speculative, but the industry is really evolving. Now, all of that is a lot of geeky, a lot of history there, but it's really starting to reach a stage now where these different types of exposures and products can all happen outside of the traditional financial system, which is a really, really exciting point of innovation. And something that people that want to diversify into this industry should be exposed to. Obviously, I can't give financial advice, but as I said, when I'm what I'm working on at the moment is trying to just simplify this into something that anyone can take advantage of as they start to exit the traditional financial system into some of these new alternative products that also are a bridge between the traditional financial world and the cryptocurrency world. And they act as a bridge in the middle between this friction-rich fiat currency versus Bitcoin as our world's best shot at receiving sound money, and some financial innovation in between to bridge between the two. Yeah, so you got the intersection between the regulated world and the decentralized world, and those two will always have different areas of friction and regulation. Certainly, stable coins will be, they're already regulated. They are subject to the Financial Actions Task Force, which is a group that regulates those, and not all stable coins are equal, and they're subject to different jurisdictions depending on who creates that stable coin. I'm an investor in a company called Circle, which created the USDC stablecoin, and Bitfinex, which is that created the USDT, which is the largest stablecoin. And then there's others. Part of what I think we'll do is helping people understand the risks with these different stablecoins and understand which ones are the ones that what risks you should diversify away from if you start to play into that market. That's certainly something our research team has actually done, and I've been using those over the years, so can certainly help with that in future educational series. Hello, everybody. Really appreciate you watching that video. Hope you enjoyed the content and you got a lot out of it. If you'd like to get a lot more, then please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell symbol, and YouTube will send you a notification every time. I'm also giving content on Twitter at Simon Dixon Twit, so you can follow me there. Over the last 10 years since I've been involved in the industry, from speaking at the very first Bitcoin conference in the world to actually before that, when I was involved in presentations for the banking and monetary reform community, I've always been focused on working with the high net worth investors at Bank to the Future and investing in the crypto companies and Bitcoin and fintech companies that made this industry. That meant that I never really focused on building a following, because I really just focused on the relationships that I built. But now there's so much financial uncertainty. There's so much challenges that people are experiencing in both the economy and their personal financial situation, that I really want to focus on making sure that more and more people get these messages. So if you leave a comment under this video, let me know what you'd like to see in future videos. And also subscribe to the channel, and I'll make sure that I'm giving you the best information, the best thinking I've got, which regularly changes as this financial system unfolds. To get that information, subscribe, get the notifications, follow me on Twitter, like, share, so that more people can get this message. And I'll make sure that you're on top of the information curve as this financial system unfolds. And remember, no matter how bad it gets, you're alive at one of the most exciting times in financial history. Peace.